practice if you want to.
That was easy.
All right, so this one starts off with the properties. Which property is shown? We're on practice test 2. Which property is shown? How about A? That is the additive inverse. When two things are added and they cancel each other out, that is the additive inverse. All right, what's next? What's that? That is associative because, again, it's 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So that's the associative property of addition. These are the same properties on the last one, aren't they? C is different, though. What's this one? No, this is not an identity. This is actually another inverse. Because what's happening? What happens when you multiply 15 and 1/15? They cancel, right? And when things cancel, it's an inverse. So this is the multiplicative inverse. When we're done with the test, I'm going to run through a few more properties with you. But I want to get through the whole test first. So these are the properties for this practice test. All right, 2A says solve. Does it say how to solve? You're on your own. Solve it however you want to. What occurs to you when you look at this? Complete the square. Now, again, I love it that that comes into your brain, but if you're going to complete the square, you're going to have to divide by 6 to start, and that's going to leave you with fractions. So I don't want to do that. I only want, if this problem looked like this, I'd complete the square in a heartbeat. But it looks like this. I am not completing the square. Quadratic formula. X equals, what's B?
X.
No, it's not X. B is actually -1. So negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. A is 6, B is -1, and C is -2. Feel free to write those down. You're going to have plenty of time to write those down. All right, so what happens under here? 1 plus 48. Did you get 49?
48.
Well, 1 plus 48.
Plus, okay.
Okay, now 49 is special. 49, square root of 49 is 7. So I have 1 plus or minus 7 over 12. So 1 plus 7 over 12 will be one answer, and 1 minus 7 over 12 will be the other answer?
Can't you just put 1 plus or minus 7?
No, because they add together. If it was root 7, I could do that because they don't add. But 1 plus 7 adds. 1 plus 7 makes 8, and 8 twelfths makes 2/3.
Yes.
So one of my answers is 2/3. 1 minus 7 is -6. So -1/2. This problem actually factored. So if you wanted to factor it, you could have factored it, but using the formula was just fine. Just fine. There's going to be a quadratic equation on your test that you're going to have to solve. You can sit right here and say, I'm going to use the quadratic formula, and that will work 100% of the time. All right, now we've got one of these little absolute value guys. This is a pretty easy one. Here's my number line. My clue for a number line is right there, right? So there's my number line. do I approach this problem? I don't factor it. There's no factoring to do. What do? I just graph it. So when I just graph it, I put a number here in the middle. What's going to be the number in the middle? -2. It's the opposite of that. And then out here's a dot, and out here's a dot. And I add 7 and subtract 7. And then I will shade out, right? Greater than out. And then, see the handy dandy answer blank there? I have to put something in it. So you can either put x is less than -9 or x is greater than 5. That would be one thing to put in the answer blank, exactly like that. Or you could say -infinity, -9, union 5, infinity. That would be another option if that's how you like to do it. Nope, you don't put both. Don't put both. One or the other is fine. If you put anything else, it's going to be wrong. All right. Now we got an equation with fractions. Remember, these are the questions on the test. So you know you're going to have an equation with fractions. So what's our game plan? I'd love to cancel out the denominators. I'd love to get rid of those denominators. How do I do that? I multiply by the common denominator. And what common denominator do you want to use with 4 and 6? 12. Now 12 would be a good one. Was anybody thinking 24? Okay, 24 will also work. Liam. No, Thank you for being awake. If you feel the need to stand up to stay awake, you may do that. 12 will work, so will 24. There isn't just one single number that will work. The key is whatever number you pick has to cancel both denominators. So 12 will cancel 4, and 12 will cancel 6. That's the key. Would 24 cancel 4? Yep. Would 24 cancel 6? Yep. So any number that will cancel both denominators is fine. So what am I left with? 6x minus 3 plus 2x minus 4 equals 24. You know, when you've done this for so long and you've graded so many papers, things stick out in your mind, and I remember so clearly a bunch of kids forgot to multiply over here by 12. Remember, you're multiplying every single thing by 12. All right, so now what have I got? 8x minus 7 equals 24. Collecting like terms. So 8x equals 31 and x equals 31/8. And that is fine. There's no need to do anything with that. Leave it 31/8. Page 1 done. Awesome. All right, what do we got on page 2? We have some more solves. Now I see that, which means I'm going to need a number line at some point. I'm going to start by factoring it, and I'm going to do this really carefully, make sure I get it right. How does that factor? Minus 1 minus 4? And on test day, I'm going to have plenty of time. I'm going to check that, make sure that's right. I'm going to FOIL it back. And then I'm going to put my dots on the number line. And where will they be? +1, +2, -4, and they will be solid this time. And now I'll shape in the middle, because it's a less than. And then I gotta put something in the answer blank. Bracket 1, 4, that's the easiest way to do it, but it would also be okay, Jacob, this is when you can put the X in between, if that's the way you want to do it. Either one of those is fine. Anything else is going to be wrong. Those are the 2 ways that are possible. All right, next. Yep. You need to talk louder, I can't hear you.
I have a quick question about the brackets.
Uh-huh.
Why did we use them instead of like?
Somebody help her out. What are those brackets and not parentheses?
Because they're shaped.
Closed dots versus open dots. Closed dots versus open dots. Okay. What do I do? Square both sides. So x minus 2 equals 25. And x equals 27. This is the kind I need to check. So does that check out? If I put 27 in for my x, does that work out? It surely does. So the answer is 27. Now we got one of the big ones. Process here, Garrett.
You're gonna do x squared. We're gonna take an x squared out.
These guys right here, right? So x squared, and that will leave me with x plus 3.
Plus 3, yeah. That is -4.
Take out a -4, and that leaves me with x plus 3. Remember, if I take out the -4, that will leave me with x plus 3. And how do I know I'm off to a good start? They match, right? Gotta have a match. So I'm gonna write down my match. And then x squared minus 4. And what about x squared minus 4? Not x plus 4, x minus 4. It's x plus 2. X minus 2. So, Kayla, what are my answers? So, the answers are x equals -3, -2, +2, right? That's what goes in the answer blank. These are the factors, but they give me the answers then, the zeros, the solutions. What happens if you can't stay awake during review? We just stop reviewing. And classmates will kill you. All right, here we go. How do we simplify this? Do we FOIL? Please don't. There's a minus sign in between those parentheses, so I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to distribute the negative, and now I'm simply going to collect like terms. So 4 minus 6 and -2 minus 1. Done. Done, done, done. Don't do anything else. That's it. Easy. This is not quite as easy. This one's going to take a little more effort. What do we do there with that division problem? Vince?
On the denominator, you multiply both the numerator and denominator by 2 plus 3i.
Exactly. He even said it like a mathematician. Good job. Multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. So in this case, we're going to multiply, like he said, by 2 plus 3i. You change that little sign right there. Just the middle one. Now, are these FOIL problems?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 of them now. We're going to have to FOIL at the top and FOIL at the bottom. So, first times first, outsides, insides, lasts. Remember, when you multiply 3i times 3i, you get 9i squared. First, outside, inside, lasts. What about 9i squared here up top? Becomes I squared is negative 1. So this is like a negative 9, which combines with the 8 and leaves me with a negative 1. 8 minus 9. And then these guys add up to 18i. What about negative 9i squared? Positive 9, which adds to the 4 and gives me 13. And then those guys cancel, which they always do. That's why we did what we did. So we would not have an I in the bottom, just the number in the bottom. Now nothing cancels in that problem. I do want to caution you though, if you had negative 8 plus 15i over 16, or negative 8 plus 24i over 16, nothing cancels in this problem. Some of you are going to say, oh, 8 and 16. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to be able to cancel all 3 spots. You either do all 3 or you do none. So nothing cancels here, but here we could take an 8 out and be left with negative 1 plus 3i over 2. You see the difference between those 2 problems? Don't get carried away with your canceling. If you can cancel all 3, then you should do that. Will, you awake?
All.
All right. Oh, get done with that page. Okay, next page. Here we go. Simplify. All right, what do you think about this one? Yeah, really there's nothing to do to get started except move this guy up. So we're going to have y cubed up there. So Solomon says 4 over 12, 1/3. X how many on the bottom? 5. X to the 5th on the bottom. Y11 on the top. And you don't actually have to have this 1. It doesn't hurt anything, but you don't absolutely have to have it in your answer. Doesn't matter. Tessa, you doing okay? Okay. Number 6, write the equation of the circle. The center is at 2, -1, and the radius is 5. All right, Garrett did this for us earlier. Who can do this one? Who can do this? Yes, ma'am.
X minus 2 plus y plus 1 squared equals 3.
Perfect. Everybody okay with that? Everybody good? Okay, that's super. That didn't take very long. All right, now we're going to write the equation of a line. We got a couple of points. And we're going to write the equation of a line that contains those 2 points. What do we do? Find the slope. And how do we find the slope? Don't be talking about x's yet. We got to start with y's. So 6 minus 4 over 1 minus negative 2. So it looks like our slope this time is negative 2.
You're right. I stopped recording.
Shouldn't have stopped recording. Did it just come up with that little message?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's still recording. Thank you for paying attention, but I don't know why it does that. It just comes up with that little message, but it keeps going. Thank you, though. I'd rather be safe than sorry. Okay. Am I done? No. What still needs to be done? You gotta write the equation. Yeah, that's the whole job here. So I'm going to use this point. Y minus 4 equals negative 2 parentheses x minus 2. So y minus 4 equals negative 2x plus 4. Right? Now I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So there is the answer to the question. On the test, the directions do say slope-intercept form, so you would need to go to this point. This is the answer. This is where you need to be. All right. Now we want to be parallel. All right, parallel to this one and containing the point 2, negative 3. So, Liam, how do we start? What? Uh-huh.
No, all you do is don't you get the y to the other side?
Don't you get y alone?
Yeah, y alone.
Because if we get y alone, that's going to tell us what slope to use, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to get y alone. So I move over my 6x, and now I'm dividing. So I got 2x minus 10/3. Now I'm not worried about that 10/3 because that's not the part of the equation I care about. What did I do this for? To find the slope. And this is the slope. That's all I care about, is the slope. Now, since the line is parallel, I'll use 2. So my slope is going to be 2. Parallel means same slope. If this were a perpendicular problem, then I would use negative 1/2. Y plus 3 equals 2, that's my slope, times x minus 2. Y plus 3 equals 2x minus 4, and y equals 2x minus 7. That is my line. We have one more page to go. Okay, so now we've got a ball thrown into the air. Here we go. Here's There's our general formula. Question A says, write the equation for this problem. Okay, and I actually have S of, I'm going to leave it Y. S of t, Y, same thing, doesn't matter, whatever you want to use. What's it equal for this problem? Negative 16t squared plus 80. Come on, you got to read the problem. What does the V stand for? Velocity. So it says the velocity is 80. So the 80 is what goes there, right? Groupies, what's going to happen to your answer to B and C if you don't get this right? They'll be wrong. You got to have the right equation to get the right answer. So pay attention. Velocity goes here. Initial height goes here. It just is. Okay, now, second question. How high is the ball after 1 second? So we're going to use this equation. And what are we going to do? 1 second. Where does that go? Goes in for t. So negative 16 times 1 plus 80 times 1 plus 20. I'm just putting 1 in for the t's. So that looks like 84 feet, if I did my arithmetic right. Those of you that are going to type this in on your calculators, you got to square before you multiply. So it's 1 squared is 1, so that's negative 16. Don't be squaring the 16. It's 1 squared times negative 16 plus 80 plus 20, so that should be 84 feet. So how high is the ball after 1 second? 84 feet. If you don't put the feet there, you're going to miss a little fraction of a point. When we have a word problem, we label our answers. Okay, last one, C. When is the ball on the ground? When is the ball on the ground? So we're going to use the same equation right here. But this time we're going to put in 0 for y, because y is height. Y is height. And if you're on the ground, your height is 0. Alrighty? Now, you have to solve that equation. And the directions will say round to the nearest hundredth, or something like that. Okay, so we're going to round off these answers, maybe something like 5.8 seconds or something. Okay? How are we going to solve this? I would personally divide everything by -4. You do not have to do this, but it's going to make your numbers a lot smaller. We're probably going to end up using the quadratic formula. I really don't want to be squaring 80. I have a calculator, I could do it, but the numbers are just going to get big. So I'm going to divide. And now my equation, it's still big, but it's better. So here we go. T equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I'm going to figure out what all that is first. Be careful, I think it's going to be a plus in there. I think it's going to be 400 plus something. I got 480. confirmation out there, 480, okay? Now, there's two answers here. I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, so I'm going to type it in on my calculator. So I'll start with 20 plus the square root of 480 equals divided by 8, and I got 5.24. If I round off to the nearest hundredth. Do I have anyone typing this in with me, or am I the only one? 20 minus the square root of 480 equals divided by 8, negative 0.24. What is the unit on those answers? Those are t values, so that will be seconds. And what do you notice about those answers? That one's not good. So the answer is, when is the ball on the ground? After 5.24 seconds. And we're almost done. Number 9. Oh Lord, here we go. We're going to find distance and midpoint. We're all going to get it right. This is the one that means distance, right? What do I do? 4 minus 6
squared.
1 minus 11 squared.
That's 4 plus something.
So that's going to be 4. And that's going to be 100.
Yep.
So the square root of 104. Now this one does not say round to the nearest hundredth. This one you need to simplify. So 104 breaks down into 2 times 52. And that is 2 times 13, or 2 times 26. And that is 2 times 13. So what's our rule? You got 2 of something, you take it out. So I have 2 2s and an extra 26. One more problem. What's the midpoint? What is the midpoint of these 2? Average. So the midpoint will be 4 plus 6 and 1 plus 11 over 2. So 5 comma 6. All right, 5 comma 6. Lauren, what are you doing on that iPad? Is it math? It is? You're doing that. Okay, we don't need an iPad. All right, 5 comma 6, everybody okay with that? So we just took the test. Let's see how long it took us. Just so you have an idea. That took 34 minutes. Okay, so time should not be an issue, because I was even stopping and talking about stuff. So time shouldn't be an issue for this. You know exactly what you have to do, right? Okay, so what we're going to do now is take a quick little break. Stand up, stretch. No one needs to go anywhere. You have flex in a few minutes, but we're going to do a little more practice. So stand up and stretch a little bit. And then we're going to have you